Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a Penske fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two dumb Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 777. Episode 777 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Welcome back, everybody. Good morning. Michael, how you doing? Jermichael Finley Mahler, how you doing, man?
I'd be doing a whole hell of a lot better if I had Jermichael Finley money. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I'd take a little bit of that.
I'm doing great.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning to Tortilla on the board. Tortilla, sir, says you guys hear that Mark Caboli will be in the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He isn't Charlie or Willy Wonka. He was cast as the Chocolate Factory itself.
Hell yeah, brother.
Well, I imagine he would be the kid that falls into the chocolate. Remember it was the heavier set kid that he like went crazy and started.
Yeah, the fat German kid.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Yeah. Welcome back. Pittsburgh Steelers go back to camp tomorrow. They start signing in and showing up, and it's going to be down to the Falcons and the Steelers, the last two teams, to start camp this week. Of course, the Steelers officially starting camp on Thursday, but showing up tomorrow. Most of the teams, 26 of 32, are at camp right now. A couple more throughout the day. And as I said, Falcons and Steelers will be the last to arrive at camp, and that'll be tomorrow. Guys, it's here. It's underway. Football camp is it's football camp week, Mike.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. This football season's here. It's here. Teams are in camp. What looks at the last two reporting this week. I'm fired up, brother.
I gotta be honest with you, Mike. You know, early on in camp, you don't want to hear a lot about injuries. You don't want to see any injuries, but you've already had your training camp injury. Of course,
hell yeah, brother.
I often get on you on the show about your injury when you were going reverse in your car and you weren't turned. You were literally just, backing up and you got injured, but you endured a new injury just yesterday.
Hell yeah, brother. I I went looking for my sunglasses yesterday. Old, Cinnamon had them. Went to her house. She wasn't there, but her stepsister Saffron was there. And let's just say, boys, I gave her a little bit too much of the thunder yesterday, and I pinched a nerve in the old hip.
You want me to put this? All right, I'm going to put it in English so everybody understands. Mike was in his car getting out of the car, and he got an injury.
Well, that's how Mike got injured. Vanilla Thunder got injured by giving Saffron a little bit of that thunder and a lot of that vanilla, if you know what I mean. Boys. Hell yeah.
I gotta be honest. I like you getting injured, getting out of the car a little bit better. That was more exciting for me, a little bit more entertaining for me. But
it was too. Like I had new boots ordered for work. I got them on. I'll wear them to the store, walk around the store. I hop out the car. I put one foot down and I lift up. I'm like, oh shit, man, this don't feel right, brother.
This is a real thing. This really happened. This is not a bit. This is not a goof. Mike really did get injured getting in and out of the car,
like,
which priceless.
Yeah, my second thought was after, like, oh fuck, I hurt myself. Oh fuck, Ryan's gonna hear about this. Now everyone on the show is gonna hear about this.
And not only is everybody gonna hear about this, they're gonna hear about it for the next 3 years at least, because I'm still going on about the last injury, and you know how this goes. Good morning, everybody. Welcome.
Big back. Mike gets hurt by driving in cars. Vanilla Thunder gets hurt by going to see Saffron.
All right, do what you want with that, everybody.
Cinnamon wasn't there.
Steelers, of course, they make a big announcement yesterday about the new uniforms going to be worn by the Steelers. It is the throwback to the 1933 or 1933. I'm sorry, 1933 uniforms. Yeah. I like them. I like them a lot. I'm going to be honest. Of course, back between, I think it was 2012 and 2016, they brought out the Bumblebee uniforms, which were the 1934 uniforms. So the first two uniforms the Pittsburgh Steelers ever wore as a team, guys.
Yeah.
They have now are going to be rolling the two uniforms out again. Of course, this one 1933. Mike, I'm a big fan. I like the crest. I like the Pittsburgh crest. There's not, and the thing is, I mean, you can love it or you hate it, but if you don't like it, if you look back at what the 33 uniforms look like, it is almost identical. It's just just an updated today version of it. But I'm thrilled to be wearing these uniforms that they released yesterday on a Sunday night in Week 8 against Green Bay. And then you know what? And then they usually roll them out a little bit later in the year at some point. Maybe they'll announce it, maybe they won't. I don't know. But of course, the new uniforms, the big story all the way up until yesterday, heading into camp, which again they start showing up tomorrow, guys. And camp kicks off on Thursday. The Steelers and the Falcons will be the last two teams to start their camp. Good morning to Corey on the board. Always great to see Corey Beavers on the board. My friend Corey says tortilla, so we will see an object devour itself live on screen. I don't know how I feel about that. Ugh. Imagine turning on your TV every night and seeing that man cow on your screen. Corey also says, I'm glad you guys are on, man. I've been listening to my conspiracy podcast all morning and my head is spinning. Glad to be here for you, brother. And I do the same, believe me. I'm probably into the same conspiracy videos that you're into. Tortilla says, Corey, you don't want to know how the chocolate is made. I've never been over there. Mike, have you ever gone to the Hershey factory here in Pennsylvania?
I have not.
No, me neither.
No, it's just that doesn't intrigue me.
I mean, I'm intrigued by food and chocolate, but you know what? It just seems like it's very overpriced too. I don't know. If I'm gonna get chocolate, I'm gonna get something to snack on. I get out of the store and get whatever I want. It seems like it's a money cow. You know what I mean? You're going to spend money and you get to see some cool shit and get an opportunity to buy a candy bar this big. But again, I don't know. I'm not spending my money on big candy bars.
Yeah, I'm not going. Yeah, and I'm not driving out to watch candy be made. I'll watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm just going to squeeze this in real quick, Mike. The Pirates managed to beat the best team in the American League after getting swept by the worst team in the American League to start off the second half of the season. Again, I'm not going to stay in this too long. Pirates win 3-0, giving Paul Skeens his first win in a long time. Paul Skeens goes 6 innings, gives up 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk. Pirates improved to 40 and 61 on the season. They're back at it today at 6:40, game 2 of 3. Mitch Keller's on the mound with a 3-10 record, 3.48, 92 strikeouts on the season. Again, this is game 2 of 3.
Hell yeah, brother. Paul Skeens finally got a win. That's all I care about. I don't care about the Buccos winning. I care about Paul Skeens winning.
Again, next Thursday, NFL football is going to be on TV. Like the Detroit Lions and Los Angeles Chargers kicking off preseason with the Hall of Fame game next Thursday. It ain't going to be long, man. We got, again, Steelers showing up tomorrow, camp starting Thursday, football 1 week from Thursday. A lot of things going on. It'll be preseason before you know. Let's get into it.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Let's fucking go.
Corey Beaver says Cavoli is so fat he can taste everything, every individual ingredient.
Oh,
yeah. Mike, at the top of the show, I called you Jermichael Mahler. I was just looking over this wide receiver room at Notre Dame. They got Jermichael Finley's son, and then they got Jerome Bettis' son, and then they got Plexico Burris' son, and then they got Larry Fitzgerald's son. I got to be honest with you. This Notre Dame team it's going to be interesting to watch, to say the least.
yeah.
I mean, we're assuming they're going to be good.
Yeah.
Because, of course, you can't crown somebody because we don't know, because, the whole Arch Manning thing, and these guys wouldn't let me say that, he's going to be good, because we have to let it play out.
We have to let it play out, brother.
So when Notre Dame goes 1-11 and their receivers are terrible, then I'll be able to say, you know what, you were right, Michael. But until then, I think this is going to be a pretty damn good receiving core. I don't know what their quarterback situation looks like, but again, Larry Fitzgerald's son, Jerome Bettis' son, Plexico Burris' son, and Jermichael Finley's son is in the wide receiver room of this
brother.
Notre Dame.
Brother, watch Plexiglass Burris' son had the best hands of the group.
Honestly,
that'd be ironic.
I don't know Plexico Burris' son personally, but I'm kind of surprised by it. I mean, this is he's in Notre Dame. I mean, I don't know. Plex didn't really come off as the smartest guy in the world, but again,
you shoot yourself in your leg with your own gun, brother. I'm going to question your intelligence.
I mean, it goes all the way back. The guy was never
5 PhDs.
The guy was never Einstein. You got to admit, even back in the day when he was in Pittsburgh, he never really came off as the smartest guy. But good for his son. His son is on Notre Dame's football team. Wish him all the luck in the world. But again, kind of a surprise.
Yeah. Plexiglass, still one of my favorite Steeler receivers of all time, because you never knew what you're going to get out of him. A circus catch, a drop, or a spike at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, he was.
I really did. I did like Plexico. I thought he was a damn good receiver.
I thought he was a stupid ass.
He was a dumbass.
I didn't like him, and I got to be honest with you. When he was here, he scared me to death in the sense that like Deontay Johnson, you just didn't know. You didn't know if he was going to do something stupid. You didn't know. That really made me uncomfortable. But again, he would make some clutch catches out of nowhere. It was like early flurry. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You just didn't know what you were going to get. You could throw a ball right to him and he'd drop it, or you could throw a ball 50 yards beyond and somehow it ends up in his hands.
Yeah, those dependable guys, no, they're boring. The schizophrenic wide receivers, that's where I get my enjoyment from for football.
Good morning, Richard. Richard on the board. Always great seeing my good friend Richard. And Corey says, Ryan, I've been listening to religious conspiracies and yeah, man, I'm into all that stuff, dude. That's what I do in my spare time. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Again, episode 777. We're back. This is camp week, guys. We're kicking things off, getting ready for the Steelers training camp to kick off on Thursday. Mike, I want to get you into some topics that I know that you're not comfortable with, but this is where I'm going to go this morning. Who's going to be the first camp injury? You go into camp, and then sometimes it's a rookie. He's not quite ready yet. Sometimes these guys aren't quite in shape. Who's going to be the first camp injury? And then I'm going to take it a little further than that. Who's going to be the first season-ending injury? Again, these aren't things I know you don't want to talk about just prior to camp starting. Brother. But once camp starts, there's always the guy that gets hurt in camp. And then there's always the guy that gets hurt early and is out the whole entire season. I mean, go back through the years, you could always point back to at least one player that goes down early and is out for the entire year. Of course, we don't want anybody. I mean, no. But who? Let's just take some guesses today. We'll write it down and see what we could do. And again, we'll do. What else we're going to do today? Also, we're going to do some pre-camp predictions. Because things are official, guys. Camp 2 more days does kick off. We're going to go, try to figure out what we believe the record of this team is going to be, what the place they're going to finish in the division, if they're going to make the playoffs, what they'll do in the playoffs. We'll get to all kind of predictions today because, again, off season is wrapping up. It is going into training camp, guys. This is camp week in the NFL. And again, the Steelers and Falcons will be the last 2 teams to kick off camp on Thursday. So we're going to get into those predictions today. And again, I mean, this is a 1 in a million shot, but Mike, who's just throw some names out there and who may be the first camp injury, and that's not necessarily the most devastating injury, because that's going to be a whole separate question. Who's going to be the first camp injury and who's going to be the first long-term injury for this team?
My first injury, I hate to say it, boys, but he did miss some time with the team, would be TJ Watt. I think he might be a little stiff. Won't be a devastating injury. I think he's going to miss just a couple practice reps, a couple days of practice. I'm going TJ Watt.
See, I think the opposite. I think TJ Watt's going to come in like a fight, like a dragon.
I hope so, man. I really do hope so.
I mean, you've seen these pictures. He put one up with Nick Herbig. The guy, he's 10 times bigger than he was last season.
I would say he looks in really good shape.
He's in contract year shape. This is this is the TJ Watt that you get every contract. Well, at least last contract year, he came out and put up 22 and a half sacks. The guy looks like, I mean, come on, for the lack of a better term, he looks like Superman. Of course, Superman is the big thing right now, but he does. TJ Watt, his arms are massive. He looks like a pro wrestler. And I'm going to be honest, I think this is just going to be another crazy TJ Watt season. I think this will be a year that he kind of shuts the people up that that have some negative things to say about him. But again, this has been the pattern of his career, though. So it wouldn't surprise me if it did in fact go that way. So this is your first injury of the preseason of the camp.
It's going to be the injury that causes us concern, but he'll be healthy for the season. But it's going to be one of those things that we talk about all camp of all. He missed OTAs, and this is why OTAs are important. It just has that feeling to it. When anytime anyone misses any time during any part of camp, they get injured. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, it's because they weren't here. They weren't here." I just have that feeling because we have no distractions going into camp. Everyone's under contract. We're good to go. And I just have that feeling that's going to be, it's just going to be a little strained somewhere in his leg. And we're going to shut him down for a week or two just to be safe. But that's going to cause a lot of panic amongst fans in the media. But I think he'll be okay. But if I have to make a prediction, just historically, when guys miss some time somewhere, that seems to happen. Never a major injury, just a little nagging little thing through training camp, and he'll be healthy ready to go. But yeah, that's just my first one right there.
I'm just kind of seeing out of the corner of my eyes some of the messages that are coming up, and my pick, Mike, is a toss up between a couple of guys. I've seen the most recent messages. Let me do the messages first, and I'll get to my predictions. Tortilla says, let me start with this first message. Tortilla says, Steelers like IQ wide receivers like I like crazy women. Low IQ wide receivers like I like crazy women.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
Oh, Mike, you're over-modulating.
I'm sorry.
Listen, I have a tip for you. Just turn your mic down a little bit when you're ready to yell, because I know. It goes a long way. All right.
I have it low to begin with.
I know. It's just it crackles in my ears, and it's not pleasant.
Sorry.
All right. And then the next message, Tortilla says Roman Wilson will be the first injury. Hold that thought. And then let me get into Corey Beaver's message. Corey says we already had our long-term injury, Parham. Our short-term injury will be a linebacker. So I'm going to say Queen or Wilson misses 2-3 games. Mike, my prediction was going to be one of the two names, Roman Wilson or Peyton Wilson. It's going to be one of the Wilsons, I think, will be injured early because there's a history of injuries in both of these players. So I do believe one of these guys, and I hate to say it, I think it's going to be Roman Wilson. And if it is Roman Wilson, is this going to turn into something that we don't want to have to deal with Roman Wilson eventually, Mike? That could be really bad if it's Roman Wilson.
Yeah. If it is Roman Wilson, that's not a good thing there. Then I would see them starting to heavily look at outside receivers, because like I was saying yesterday, and I think last week as well, like he might be the guy that they want to see how he does in camp before they go out and go get a Gabe Davis or a Boyd, or who's the other guy, or Amari Cooper, before they go and look at one of those guys. They would see what this cat has. So yeah, I hope he doesn't get the camp injury, because he looks so. You want to talk about how TJ Watt looked in shape this year? Roman Wilson looks so
Mike,
much
do you know
better
if Roman
this year
Wilson
than
has
last
any
year.
history of injuries?
I never heard of him having injury history at Michigan.
I never looked into it. I don't know.
I know like Peyton Wilson had like injury concerns because he was hurt like his freshman and sophomore year.
He doesn't have a knee or something, doesn't Peyton Wilson?
He's like missing a ligament in his knee or something. Yeah.
So that's what concerns me about him. A guy like this, I don't know. Again, I don't know much about that particular injury, but it doesn't seem well to be missing. A ligament, which some players go through their whole career with that particular injury. But at the end of the day, Mike, I think didn't Heinz Ward or somebody, they were missing a ligament and they were just fine. But it just, a lot of these young guys, especially, you're not quite sure in their situation yet. And again, if Roman Wilson falls into that injury prone kind of player category, that's not something you want to see, especially as you're saying, considering that we're kind of banking on him coming back and being, somewhat of a productive receiver. So I just hope that doesn't backfire on us. And I'm seeing on the board that Richard is also saying Roman Wilson in the camp as the camp injury. And then he's also saying season-ending injury, which, you know what, guys, I was talking to a buddy the other day, and he said the same exact thing. And I got to be honest, the thought never crossed my mind because I don't want it to, I think. But it's a very realistic thought that, you know what, maybe Aaron Rodgers goes down with a big injury this year. He's not exactly a young man, and he's not exactly the biggest guy. I got to tell you, I see him out there with a T-shirt and shorts, and, he's no bigger than the average man. So, this guy getting hit by a couple of these monsters may just be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And if that be the case, let's just say this. And again, we're doing a lot of speculating today. Let's say that Aaron Rodgers goes down in week 1. Let's say he blows a knee. Bam, he's done. What does that do to you as a Steeler fan? How does that? Because I think everybody is somewhat optimistic now. Everyone's hoping for the best. They understand that we went out and we put some work into this team and grabbed some players this offseason, or doing what we need to do to produce some wins. But what's this do to your sales? If Aaron Rodgers gets hit, in the first game against the Jets, big game, everyone's talking about it, everybody's tuning in. He gets injured in the first game with the Jets. Let's say he comes out in that first game against the Jets and goes down with the season-ending injury. What does that do to the sales of Steeler Nation, Mike?
Forget the sales. The whole boat is on fire, brother, if Aaron Rodgers goes down. I know the good brother Mark Malone saying, we're going as far as Mason Rudolph would take us is 4,000 yards and 42 touchdowns. I'd be very, very shaken if Aaron Rodgers does get hurt. I don't think Mason's going to put up those type of numbers if Aaron goes down. That's why, like, when I saw that pop up there, I just did a little shudder. That scares me, that losing Aaron Rodgers for an entire season when the offense is being built around him, that's scary.
I agree. I mean, of course, he's never played down in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. Of course, we never seen him play as a 42-year-old man. And of course, at age 40, he does get hurt on the very first play of the game with a season-ending injury. So, I mean, the fact of the matter, it's a realistic thought to toss around, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it, guys. And I think, Richard, I think you did a great job by getting that ball rolling, because it's very possible. Again, he's not a big dude. He's not a big dude at all, and he's an older guy. And some of these 24-year-old dudes that are coming in off the edge, they're coming full speed, and they're built like monsters. You can't roll. You can't roll that kind of thing out, especially in the NFL. You see it a lot. Double O, my man, what's going on? 007. He says, Mason Rudolph to the rescue again. Santa will be calling Mason. He'll be calling Rudolph to lead the sleigh once again, Mike. Let me ask you.
Just tell Mason that the season's 3 games long, and he got you, brother.
Well, let me ask you this. So say we let's take the first game out. Let's just count 16 games. I don't know how that game would turn out. It's probably going to be devastating if that does happen. But let's just take a look, Mike. What do you think the Steelers record would be if that, in fact, would happen? Say Mason Rudolph came in with this team and ran the duration. And how long do you think it would be before Will Howard would be under center?
I think a combination of Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, you're probably going to kill me, but we'll get us to 9-7 wins.
Oh, wow.
And 9 of them would get us to, if Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett can get us to 9-7, I think Will Howard and Mason Rudolph can get us to 9-7.
Oh, we don't know. I mean, one guy
with the defense that we have, yeah.
It'll be so effed up, because here's the thing: if we have to depend on the defense to carry the load all the way again, it's not going to be good, Mike.
It would not be good, but it's going to fit the past 5 years, brother.
Well, we don't want to fit the past 5 years.
I know.
We need to break the mold of whatever the hell's been going on here for the past 5 to 8 years, and do it fast, because it's getting old. People are getting pissed off and angry, and you're into a mob situation down there.
Hey, that's what I see happening if Mason Rudolph, if Aaron Rodgers goes down all year. and that's what we're gonna have.
And we become one-dimensional again, and everyone zooms in, tones in on our running backs, and it's gonna be rough if that happens to be the case.
Yeah.
So again, guys, on the board, throw your predictions out there. Who's gonna be the first preseason injury? Not necessarily a major injury, but who's gonna be the first one that we're like, here we go. And then the second part of the question is, who's gonna be the first long-term injury? Every year for the past 3-4 years, Mike, we've had that guy went down early and he stayed down all season. Let's hope this is the year that we could turn the luck on the injury bug here in Pittsburgh. But I got to be honest, Mike, I got to see it to believe it at this point.
You know what? We do have a guy who can fill both injury concerns, short term and long term, on the roster already. Number 27, Corey Trice. My guy has not been an injury he doesn't like. And I hope he doesn't get hurt because he's someone I really want to see play all year. Him and Roman Wilson. I want to see what they can do. But Corey Trice is another one. So like we're not counting on him to do a whole lot, but we're counting on him to be that primary backup at the outside corner position behind the established big three. So Corey Trice is another one. If he can stay healthy all year, I think that'd be would be a miracle, and two, that help this defense go a long way.
Yeah, man. You just really hope that you just hope that we can stay healthy, Mike. It's been quite a few seasons since we were able to do so, and it's been early, it's been often, and again, there was many years that went by that we just didn't get hit with the injury bug, and when this team was playing well and team was winning Super Bowls and so forth. I'd like to get back to those times, man. This injury bug thing is getting old. And again, it's the NFL. You got to expect that any game, any week, any team, anybody could go down with a serious injury. But again, it really feels like it needs to swing back to where the days that the injuries were a minimum for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. No disrespect to the backups on the team, but can y'all be the ones who take the injury bug this year, not the starters? I would be okay with that. Not a primary backup, like a number 3 on the depth chart somewhere on the O-line, take an injury.
Yeah, give me like a Spencer Anderson or Calvin Anderson injury, will be fine. Let's see. I'm going to go back to Richard. Richard said you're going to trust that offensive line majorly improved over last season if Aaron Rodgers can survive this season. That offensive line's a big question. The thing is, we went out and we did so much work, and we brought in veterans. We brought in this guy, and we brought in secondary. We brought in a quarterback. But this is the young offensive line that we're building. This is the offensive line that we're drafting. Everybody with the exception of
Fatana.
Siamalu.
Oh, yeah, Fatana.
Is young or draft picks. These guys are draft picks over the past 3 years, starting with Broderick Jones, Zach Frazier, Fatanu, everyone on that line except for, again, Siamalu. So, you got to expect, you got to hope. And with half of the group of the guys, I'm confident. With a couple of with the tackles, I'm not so confident with the tackles at this moment. One guy never played a down in the NFL, a meaningful down, and the other guy has regressed, progressed, got angry, got penalties called on him, regressed again, forgot what side he plays on. So, if it was one of those things, I might feel a little bit more at ease. But Broderick Jones is my big. He's my. I don't know what to expect.
He's the wild
card, Mike, and I don't know what to expect. I want to think that he'll do better this year. I want to think that he'll be much improved because this is going to be his 4th season in the league. Yeah. But I don't know. There's not been a lot to show me that he can consistently improve.
Yeah, we're going to know early in camp if his head's on right this year. Because those reports coming out of camp last year is that he felt entitled and that it was easy for him and he can just go out there and play how he wants to play. And he got proved wrong. He got humbled quickly. So hopefully, he has his head on right and he's ready to go because they need him. And, he needs to show that he can handle that left side, get that 5th-year option, then get that big contract extension and get yourself set up for life. Because otherwise, dude, you're going to flame out of the league quick.
Mike, let me ask you, do you give this guy, we're going to be talking contract with Broderick Jones soon.
Yeah.
Again, he was the corner piece. He was the guy they started out with in building this offensive line. You're the general manager you're looking contract, you're looking future of Broderick Jones. let's not talk about this season because we can't. They haven't played it down yet. So from what you've seen so far, what are you thinking as far as contract goes with Broderick Jones, Mike?
Right now I'm leaning no, he's not getting that 5th-year option. But if he plays the way he should be playing at this point in his career, he's going to get that 5th-year option if he can harness that potential that we all saw that rookie year. If he can live up to it, and like the coach has said, if he can play consistently with his technique, that's his biggest problem, is being consistent. If he can get his head out of his ass and do it, sky's the limit for the kid. He has the athletic ability and the strength to
He has
be a
all
dominant
that great stuff, Mike, but you're right. The consistency is one thing that we haven't seen yet. I mean, even in small doses, when we did see it, it's not enough to consider it consistent. And that's my big issue, especially going, with the contract coming up with Broderick Jones, Mike. This season is a do or die for him. Listen, if he comes in and just blows our mind and this offensive line looks good and he's not a part of a problem and he's not having laundry thrown at him every, you know what I mean? And not get, then possibly, but Mike, I got to be honest with you. Nothing has been consistent on Broderick Jones since he's been drafted. To me, at this point, I agree with you. There's not much as far as the 5th-year extent, the option, because I haven't seen it yet. He really has to come out this year and really prove that he's going to be that guy. Otherwise, Mike, I don't know if he's the guy, which stinks because, again, at the end of the day, he was
that starting point.
He was the cornerstone of the starting building of this offensive line. That's a big question for me going into camp, Mike. Broderick Jones, what's he going to do? And, again, talking about this older quarterback, and I think I'm going to get into it here on the board here in a second, is, keeping him protected. And, having your left tackle be the best offensive lineman that you have is a good policy to have. Here we are with a older, I'd say a fragile quarterback. I mean, as I said, he's not a big guy. He's kind of an average sized guy, and he's inching toward his mid 40s. You'd like to have a beast back there being able to protect your back.
Yeah. And, there are ways to scheme Broderick Jones some help over there, but you're hoping at this point in his career, he won't need a whole lot of help. But, look for early in the season, Broderick Jones lining up on that side a lot too to help. Not Broderick Jones, excuse me, Mount Washington lining up over there to help Broderick Jones in obvious passing situations.
In your quarterback for your 2025 Pittsburgh Steelers, Tortilla Jackson. Tortilla says, if Rodgers goes down, I'll step up and play QB. You know what? I'd like that. I would be right there in the front row supporting you, Tortilla.
Can you see over the offensive line? That's
with my Tortilla jersey. Can you see? Can you see over the offensive line? That's the big question, Tortilla. Tortilla also goes on to say, I don't know which offensive lineman will go down, but I see one of them going down for a few weeks to a full season. Why wouldn't they, right? I mean, it's going down every year. It seems like it's somebody different. Again, it's always a lot of these young guys I'm seeing. Last year, Fatano and Roman Wilson. The year before, Corey Trey. All the way back, it's always one of these young players that are down and out for the season. So, again, you don't want to see it, but it's a reality in the NFL, guys. Throw your predictions. Who's going to be the first injury in camp and who's going to be the first long-term injury for the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys? Let's check out some more messages. Mike Corey Beaver says, Jalen Warren runs super hard and looks like he's about one big hit away from a knee injury. So I don't know. That might be the way KJ breaks out as RB1. He is a kind of a Chubb kind of runner. I mean, Nick Chubb, the same kind of injury that Minka gave Chubb a couple years back is a very possible injury for somebody like Jalen Warren because he does. He's a hard runner, and them footsteps are heavy. And again, you don't want to see any of these guys get hurt, but that is Corey. Corey's saying possibly Jalen Warren. Mark Malone says we have to have Watt power in January. It's the only way that Tomlin could win. I got to be honest with you guys. TJ Watt's looking good. If anybody's seen him recently, he's huge. He's massive. I think he has a contract season. Again, Mike, last contract season, 22.5 sacks. He doesn't look like he's messing around. I'm going to be honest. He's looked like he's been in the weight room this whole time. I kind of see. I hope to see a big season by TJ.
I hope so too. But that was like going to be 4 seasons ago. He had that big year. He was 26 in his prime. I'm hoping he has that in his tank because he needs to have that in his tank. We need that.
We hope that was his prime. We think that was his prime. Maybe 30 is his prime. I mean, we could wake up and it could be a TJ Watt season, and he could have big numbers. And as I said, I kind of expect that. I kind of expect it because we've never seen anything different from him on a contract year. So, considering the only other one that he's had, or the last one he's had, was the 22.5 season, Mike, I'm looking forward to TJ Watt this year. Phil the Steel on the board this morning, sir. Good morning, Phil. Phil says to have electricity you need. Watt and 90 will bring that electricity. Good morning, Yinzers. How you doing, man? Always great to see Phil on the board. Big John Stud, what's up, brother? John on the board says the offense and defense have to open up and stop being so predictable, or there will be no postseason success. That's a really good point. It has become predictable, and I always kind of chalked it up as personnel. Because your hands are kind of tied when you have Mason Rudolph. Your hands are tied with Russell Wilson because, again, the size of the guy and just the talent and the abilities we have. So maybe now since we brought more talent in this offseason, we could open up a little bit more offense and defensively. But again, it's interesting, Mike. This is interesting. There was a lot of moves. I don't know what to ultimately think. I'm trying to wrap my brain around all these situations and look at it realistically and look at the way things have gone and look at the way the things that you want to improve. But again, we bring in Aaron Rodgers assuming that this is all going to go good. We were all excited about Russell Wilson 1 year ago.
Yeah, we were, but two entirely.
And again, but here's the thing, Mike. Let me put it one more way, and then I'll let you answer.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson was the guy that we brought in from Kenny. So we said, well, Kenny was our guy last year, 1 year ago. And he was like, well, Russell Wilson is a whole different quarterback. He's not Kenny Pickett. Well, here we go again. Aaron Rodgers is a whole different quarterback. He's not Russell Wilson. Does this guarantee that we're going to be better?
No, it doesn't guarantee it, but we won't know until we start playing some games.
No, absolutely. That's why the conversation, though. I mean, we're having
Well, yeah, I know. I'm not arguing with you.
I'm just saying we all know that we have to wait to see them. We can't do that just yet.
But from Aaron Rodgers has always been a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. The proof is in the pudding, and I think in late stages of both of their careers, Aaron Rodgers is still a better quarterback, and he might not have the best QBR or the quarterback rating, but he did put up some pretty good numbers for that team in New York. Coming back from injury, he played better as the season went on, as he got healthier from the big Achilles injury. So we'll see. I'm optimistic, but am I thinking he's going to throw for like 35 touchdowns? No. I think he can get us around like 25 touchdowns, move the offense, not have 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out, to where the defense can play. And I think the offense is going to put up around 28 to 30 points a game, and that's going to pay dividends for that defense later in the season.
I think it's being awfully generous. 30 points a game, that's a good offense, Mike. 30 points a game is a pretty high rolling offense in the NFL. I mean, considering obviously the top offenses are a little bit more, but I don't know. Are we considered one of the better offenses in the league? I don't know. Again, maybe if you had two of those wide receivers, as we did at one point for a short period of time, the Pickett and the DK, maybe you start talking, you're up into that little, the higher echelon of an offense. But I just, again, we're banking a lot on this 42-year-old average sized man and hoping that he has magic basically left in him. He's had multiple MVP seasons. We know this. He's won a Super Bowl. We know this. But again, so Russell Wilson was a Super Bowl winner. Russell Wilson is going to go to the Hall of Fame one day. Yes, we could argue that Aaron Rodgers is better. I think that he is ultimately. But at the end of the day, we're kind of hoping on that same magic, Mike, that we were last year. And that's the one thing I hope we don't get caught up in, is he comes in and shows us that he's a 42-year-old quarterback. You have two stories. You have Tom Brady, who did it. It went really well. You had Russell Wilson, didn't go so well. Where does Aaron Rodgers fall, Mike, is my concern. And again, he's the dark horse. He's the X factor. The offense is going to be as good as Aaron Rodgers is.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers is worth 2 more points a game for the Steelers?
Yes.
And that puts us at, like, last year we averaged 21.9. So that puts us at 23.9. Let's call it 24 points. That puts us tied for 10th in the NFL in offense.
That's where I'm thinking
yeah.
between 24 and 26.5 points is where we're going to be
Yeah,
per
but
game.
that puts you anywhere from top 10 to top 8 in
But
the
it
NFL.
doesn't get you in the big games, though. Again, you're going to play good teams that are going to be able to score at will and stop you from scoring. Are we going to be? I mean, those are the games that we need to figure out how to win. We need to figure out how to win those particular games because we just haven't been over the past few years. Scoring 2 more points a game is going to be fine and maybe get us an extra win or 2 down the road. But again, you're eventually going to play good teams. Did the improvements we made in this quarterback, are they going to be enough to win those games? Are they going to be enough to win consistent games in the playoffs? Are they going to be good enough again to win those last 4 games of the season? Any of them that we lost last year? Again, all coming back to Aaron Rodgers. Mike, I'm just going to bundle it up and hand it back to you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, those offenses are putting up points, but if our defense is much improved and they're going to be more rested throughout the season and in games, they'll be able to make more impactful plays and then limit the scoring options for other teams, for those high scoring offenses. That's all we have to do is bring their offense down to our level. And I think our defense can do that. You look at, the teams that are above us, like in the scoring, like Cincinnati does not have a great defense. Washington does not have a great defense. Okay, Philly has a great defense. Tampa Bay has an okay defense. Baltimore has a damn good defense. Buffalo has a good defense. In Detroit, if Aiden Hutchinson comes back healthy, they have a great defense. If not, they have just a pretty good defense. So I like our chances against those types of teams to where our defenses can match up with their offenses now. I like the additions that we had in the secondary and on the D line. And, if we're going to play more man and more blitzes, this is the way that looks. The way they built this defense is for more pressure, blitzing from up front, and that better secondary. I think we'll be able to hold our own against these high-scoring offenses to where our offense only scoring 24 points a game should be able enough to win those games because I think our defense will be able to hold people like these high-scoring offenses in that 24 to 27-point range to where we have our offense and our special teams to win those games.
If let's just say this defense doesn't live up to what we're expecting, because
we're screwed.
We have high expectations, obviously. We bring in a lot of people to improve this defense. But again, at the end of the day, Mike, last season we were the highest paid defense in the defense, and people can argue it's because they were gassed. They're on the field a lot of the game because there's a lot of three and outs on the offensive side of the ball. So the defense. I just again, Mike, there's a lot of moving pieces right now.
Mm-hmm.
There really are a lot of moving pieces with this team. It's kind of making it's making it difficult to predict. But again, Mike, the highest paid defense last year, we were far from being the best defense in the league. Far from being the best defense in the league. And you're kind of calling on the team to have almost the best defense in the league to be able to carry this team. Is it possible that this defense can live up to that standard, Mike? Again, last year they were the highest paid defense in the league, and again in the playoffs they were unable to stop anybody. Again, against good teams down the stretch they were unable to stop anybody. Without saying anything about the offense, tell me why this is going to be a more successful year for the defense.
Oh, because last year they, on average 20.8 points a game. That was 7th in the league. In the year before that, 19.7 again. That was like 7th in the league. So they're consistently within the top 10 of, for points against.
Well, top 10's a third. I mean, that's 33%. Don't you want them higher than this? Don't you think that they should be higher with the person?
I want them higher than that, but those late season collapses where they're gassed after that offense. I know you don't want me to bring the offense into it.
Yeah, don't bring up the offense. Just talk about defense.
Oh, it kind of goes hand in hand.
But I know, but that's we understand that. So explain the defensive part.
So I think the defense being fresher all year long because they're not going to be out on the field a whole lot, and the additions that we added, I think we're going to have more turnovers on this defense. They're going to be more stout against the run. They're going to get more pressure up front from just the front four themselves to where they can start blitzing from different spots now to confuse offenses. And the defense will be getting 3 and outs. So they will be rested more that way because they'll be stopping drives earlier. They will be having turnovers. Though I think they're going to score more points. The defense this year will score more points than we did last year on defense.
I mean, it's about time that the defense starts to look a little more proactive. A lot of times we've been on our heels. A lot of times, we just been in reaction mode. and being very predictable, as a lot of guys are saying on the board. So you want to see that change. You want to see some improvements. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be halfway through the season going, oh man, maybe Darius Slay is a little too old. Oh man, maybe I can't wait till we get a new nose tackle, because we can't stop anybody that's running it down our throat, as they did in the playoffs last year and as they did against good teams last year. Man, maybe Cam Hayward is starting to get old. So again, there's a lot of ifs, ands, whats, and we could go into that forever. And that's ultimately what I'm doing. I'm playing devil's advocate here a little bit. Let's get back to the board, Mike, because there are a ton of messages, and I see some good ones in here. So let's get back to it. Tortilla says, I think Jones will have a Kevin Dotson kind of turnaround. We played Dotson on the wrong side, and when the Rams moved him back, and he turned into one of the best offensive linemen in the league. It's him. It's Broderick Jones. It's the guy. It's what's between his ears is what scares me. As Mike says, he has all the talent in the world. The guy is a freak, and if he could get it together between his ears, he should be a pretty damn good offensive lineman in this league.
Yeah, if all it takes is putting him on the left side to where that's he's more comfortable putting down that hand than his other hand, so be it.
Mark Malone says the contract. John says Jones is on the fence. He has to develop the technique in the NFL. Physical talent isn't enough. Time will tell if he can grow or die on the vine. And that's the thing. How often do you give a guy? Or how long do you give a guy? We were mentioning, Mike, we're going to be looking at his contract. And again, he doesn't have much more time on the ticking on the clock for the Steelers, at least. And what do you do at the end of the season, or when it's time to come and look at his contract? I mean, do you start looking at the draft again? You start looking around the league, looking at free agents?
You start at that point, you start looking at free agents. That way you don't have to develop, because you're hoping everyone else will develop. And if he's the weak link, you jettison him, and then you go out and spend on a left tackle.
Left tackle's big. You know what? It's so wild. The biggest positions on the field, we are struggling to, left tackle and quarterback.
Yeah.
And again, it's so vital to have a good left tackle to protect your quarterback. And here we are with a 42-year-old quarterback. Again, this is why reason for concern. This is why, that we are sitting, Mike. I think, let me see if I can find it. I had the notes here. The odds for the Steelers, we're in the middle. 30. Okay, we're plus 3,500 to win the Super Bowl, Mike. That's 15 best in the league. It's just slightly better than half, and that's what's I think driving those kind of thoughts. Because at the end of the day, name wise, put it on paper, we got a pretty good team. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of question marks on this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and they're fairly warranted, I think. Because again, you're putting a 42-year-old quarterback. You got a left tackle watching his ass, who's again inconsistent at best. Go down the line of all the things we're talking about. So the Steelers are in the middle of the pack. Yeah, and which makes you wonder. We were kind of in the middle of the pack last year. So
until you prove it out on the field, that's where people are going to have you.
Yeah. Let's move on. 007 says DeMarvin Leal is another guy that is not getting it done. I agree. He hasn't been getting it done for a few years. He fell into that Mark Robinson category. Maybe he started getting less opportunities because of his lack of production, Leal, where Mark Robinson didn't quite get the opportunity to play linebacker in that sense. He's more of a special teams guy. But, Mike, he just kind of falls in that category. He was a disappointment for me with DeMarvin Leal.
Oh, yeah.
I seen in him early. There was things that I liked, but he just sizzled out.
Yeah, he's too small to be a DN, too slow to be an outside linebacker. He did flash some stuff, but he was also one of those guys who thought he was entitled, and that's why he didn't play a whole lot his second year. Last year was his redemption year, and it didn't work out. But with all the depth they have on the D line, I don't see him coming back at all.
Ralph, what's up, brother? Ralph says hello on the board. Always great to see you, Ralph. Tortilla says Watt is about to get drug tested after that pitch.
Oh, hell yeah, brother. You see it, man. I think I sold him some stuff out of the back of the Camaro. I'm just saying.
Did you see what Manti Te'o, Manti Te'o said about TJ Watt?
Oh, God, no.
TJ Watt or Manti Te'o is worried. Yeah, get this. Manti Te'o is worried that TJ Watt chose money over winning. For one, where the hell is Manti Te'o? Didn't he disappear, or his fake girlfriend disappeared?
Him and his girlfriend disappeared, yeah.
Where the hell did he come from? I didn't know his opinion even mattered to anybody anymore.
Right? And you know what? This is the NFL. you're going to take whichever one you can get. If you can go win a championship, you're going to go get it. If you can make a lot of money, you're going to make a lot of money and hope you get a championship.
And here's the thing:
this is a job.
Only
man.
53 guys win the trophy every year. Everybody else has to worry about their livelihood, right?
Yeah, glory doesn't pay the bills. Glory doesn't pay the retirement home.
Are you Vanilla Thunder or are you Mr. Obvious today? Is what I want to know.
Hey,
you've been
Vanilla Thunder and
you've been hitting hard on Mr. Obvious this morning. Holy shit!
Vanilla Thunder likes to quote the obvious. Okay,
let's see what else we got here. Ralph says still on TJ. Ralph says we will see if TJ has a good season. As I was saying, I think that he's going to. I think it's a contract year. I think that he's working out like a beast. I think that this is the year that we should expect him to have a good season.
Yeah,
providing he doesn't have an injury, a devastating injury.
He was having a damn good last year until the supposed ankle injury, and then the offense shit the bed, and they were out there for 80% of the game, it felt like.
Mark Malone says 30 is smack dab in the middle of your physical prime. Again, that's what I'm saying. These guys are 30. I'm not calling them old at all. At all. I think 30 is a great age, especially, I'm not worried about TJ Watt being too old at this point. I'm not worried about Slay or Jalen Ramsey because why? There's no reason to. They were successful where they came from. One just won a Super Bowl. The other one won a Super Bowl 3 years ago, and they still look damn good compared to what we put on the field. Who are we to choose? Who are we to be picky at this point?
Yeah, and my God, Jalen Ramsey, he is still playing at a high level.
He really is.
And, for some guys, age literally is just
somebody might have said, Mike, after they took Rod Woodson from the Steelers, that he was past his prime. You see what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah.
When you got it, you got it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there are guys that do shit out, of course. I mean, that's all, but
yeah, he's an outlier when it comes to the age, and he has the want to go play safety if need be. If he can't hack it at corner, he's already said, I'll go play safety if I can't play corner. And for me, that's fucking, I like that. Pat Pete was like, oh, I wouldn't be a corner. I really don't want to play safety. Whereas Ramsey's like, if I can't play, I'm going to play safety to help the team. I like that.
I'm glad that you brought up Pat Pete, Mike. He kind of falls in that category. He's an older guy. You brought him in. You thought, okay, this is a guy with a name, and I'm going to bring him into being a little bit older. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about some of these older guys that we did bring in. Of course, on one side, I'm saying that they could be good. On the other side, I'm saying, who knows? You don't know what you're going to get until they get here. Because again, Pat Pete was something that we were all excited about. Pat Pete, 10 years ago was one of the better corners in the league and one of the better DBs, all pro, all this kind of thing. But again, you get the guy and you just don't know because Pat Pete didn't quite turn out what we wanted, what we needed. How many of these guys that we're bringing in aren't going to still have it like Pat Pete? I mean, it's fun to sit here and think, well, it's going to be fun if everybody's okay and they all play to that level that we want them to. But realistically, who's the Pat Pete on this team, Mike? Who's going to be the guy that we got that we're going to be like, ay.
Oh God. Hopefully just Brandon Eccles.
Hopefully, right.
Hopefully, even though he's younger, because I don't want it to be Slay. I don't want it to be Jalen Ramsey or Aaron Rodgers. I don't. It can't be any of those guys.
I mean, these are great situations if everything goes right.
Yeah.
If everything goes right, and how often does that happen? That's all I'm saying, guys. Let's just stay grounded here as we do move forward in the messages. Mike, Ralph was saying, I'm looking to see what Jack Sawyer can do. Everybody's excited about this linebacking core. I got to be honest. This is look at him inside, outside, top to bottom. I'm excited about these linebackers.
Yeah, like I wasn't a big Jack Sawyer fan, but I loved what he did in the playoffs. So, hopefully that was, him breaking out to where he's just making plays left and right. Because I was just never a big Jack Sawyer fan at Ohio State. Might just be because I'm a Penn State fan and I'm naturally skeptical of anyone from Ohio State. So if he comes in and balls out, I'm all for it. Because the way he played in their championship run that's what you want to see from a guy in those type of games. I
got to be honest with you. This team, we got a couple guys from the national championship team, but there's nothing about this national championship team that it's kind of forgettable for me. When I think of strong national championship teams, I think of the Georgia teams of the previous couple seasons. Nothing from this Ohio State team really excites me. So of course I do want to see Sawyer. Of course I eventually want to see Will Howard. But you know what? I'm not really thrilled.
They kind of felt like I said it all college season, like watch Ohio State just fall into a national championship.
Because
And everything fell right perfectly for them.
You were never impressed.
No, they got their asses kicked at Michigan. You're thinking, okay, this is it for them. And then everything fell duck in a row. All the top teams above them kept falling off. The playoff scenario worked out perfectly for them. It was like I'm not taking anything away from them because you have to beat the teams on your schedule, and they did what they had to do. But like everything lined up perfectly.
To be honest with you,
it was just
if
comical.
You're one of the best teams in the Big Ten, the Big Ten's not that strong. If you're one of the teams that aren't the best team, yeah, it's strong because you have a couple good teams up top. But if you're one of those teams, the rest of the conference is not that strong. So
no. You got Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State.
And Penn State's really not a team that ever beats them. So
that's about it.
So you have Michigan. You have the big game at the end of the year and a bunch of games that. Yeah. So again, when you talk Ohio State, people just assume that they have this grueling schedule, and they really don't. So again, I don't know. Am I impressed? They won the national championship. I'll leave it at that, Mike. Yeah, we do have to move on.
I'll be right back, brother. I'll be right back.
Do your thing. Mark Malone says, no, we weren't. I'm not sure what that one refers to, Mark. If you could just kind of refresh my memory on that as I catch up here. Ralph says this offense with Aaron Rodgers should not be predictable. I'm sorry. It shouldn't be. But we were kind of thinking the same thing with Russell Wilson coming to town. Yeah, he's a midget. Yeah, he couldn't throw past the line of scrimmage, but we didn't, at the beginning of the year, we kind of had higher expectations. I just hope that it's different. And it should be, right, guys? It should be. We'll see. Mark Malone. I'm sorry. Yes, Mark Malone. Yeah, man, we were actually going to score points again. Remembered it. And that's the thing. Maybe it's just hard for me to remember that we actually scored points at one time. It's been so long. Tortilla. One of our main problems with Russ is he couldn't see over the line. Don't matter how smart you are if you can't see over what you're doing. Fields was scared to go to the middle of the field. I mean, that's I agree with you. Russell Wilson was a munchkin, but at the end of the day, he got a point done at some point in his career, So I mean, that of course always was always. We're bringing in Super Bowl winners. We're bringing in guys that are going to go to the Hall of Fame one day. We're just getting them all at the tail end of their career, and you just never know what they're. You don't know what you're going to get. Ben at his tail end of his career wasn't doing anything great either. So that's what kind of that's my concern with Aaron Rodgers. But again, there's a whole lot of moving pieces here. It's hard to just pin it on him. Tortilla Jackson says one of our main problems with. Oh, okay, I just got that one. I'm sorry. Tortilla says Rodgers can still make throws. Put past our past quarterbacks could never make. I hope you're right, man. It's a long season. And I hope that he can continue to stay off his back. I mean, obviously that's a big thing, keeping him off, keep him on his feet. And if he does end out getting hit often, how much does that affect him? Of course he's going to make you. I think we could all agree that he probably still can make some throws that Russell Wilson wasn't able to make, and Fields, and certainly Kenny Pickett and Mason. But it's a long season. How's he going to be down the final 4 games? If he's getting hit, and again, it's a long season. Mark Malone says, I won't take anything near magic. Just unlike Buston Field. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing we all know. We're hoping for the best. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch him play for the Jets too much. The first season, of course, he goes down with his injury. Last year, I didn't see him play. I'm hearing he threw up some good numbers, and but it's just another year further down the road. Is this what guy are we going to get? A lot of wheels moving, a lot of different wheels, Mike, are in play here. Things are. Mm-hmm. It's going to be. That's why this is up in the air. This is why nobody really knows. Everybody's excited. Everybody is optimistic. I think to some degree, we've improved our team. That's a reason to be optimistic.
Yeah, it is. And like
competency. I'm sorry, I brushed over that word. I knew what it was. I just go ahead, Mike.
Do I think this team is going to be a Super Bowl winner? No. Do I think they have a chance to make a decent run in the playoffs? Yeah. Because you don't know how the season's going to play out. But I like our defense. I like our defense a lot, and our offense on paper looks like it should be a lot better than it was last year.
John says old QBs don't like being hit by over 300-pound guys. Ben got rid of the ball quickly at the end. The O-line showing Rodgers they can protect him is key, or expect him to dink, dunk, and dump. I am so done with the dink, dump, and dunk and dump. I mean, if we're gonna do this, come on. Why not just keep the guy we had last year? Well, maybe Aaron could dink, dunk, and dump a little better. What a dumb, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad we're getting younger quarterbacks as well, Mike. Of course, this is an interesting kind of a different kind of season again with Aaron Rodgers, but we drafted a quarterback in Will Howard. Again, the draft is in Pittsburgh, 2026. I think we're going to be going young blood for a quarterback there as well. I'm kind of past. I'm over the dink, dunk, and dump stage of my football fan life, Mike. I don't know how much more I could take.
Dude, I'm looking for Aaron Rodgers getting the ball out quick, not like dink and dunk, but that's going to be quick slants across the middle to DK Metcalf.
If mixed in with a good successful offense, dink, dunks, and dumps could be very productive. But Mike, if this is the only thing your offense can do, again, you're a sitting duck. You bring the same thing every time, and again, that's been what's gone down with this offense for the past 5 years. Through the tail end of Ben's career, into the number 1 draft pick, Kenny Pickett, into the 15-year backup, Mason Rudolph, however the hell long he's been here, all the way up to the Super Bowl, future Hall of Fame quarterback, Russell Wilson. Everything is turned into dink, dunk, and dump. It has to change, Mike. It has to. There's no way this team will ever improve if this is the continued pattern of the
that's not the ideal offense for Arthur Smith to run.
It's not the ideal offense for anybody.
It's the smart shots down the field, working your short to intermediate area passes on the quick hitters to utilize your guys' speed, and look for a lot of quick outs to count onto the sidelines too. And for those to turn into games, we saw those sprinkled in last year where they stopped all of a sudden. But Darnell Washington was starting games catching those out routes, getting 8, 9, 10 yards a catch on those things, moving the ball down the field. I'll take that little 4-yard out that turns into an 8 to 10 yard play all day, every day, because that's going to control the flow of the offense, and that's going to force that defense to come on down. And next thing you know, you have over the top shots available. So, and I think the quick hitting or the quick release of Aaron Rodgers are going to work for the quick ins and outs, the quick slants, and those type of plays. And those are the routes that DK Metcalf kills on, especially those routes across the middle with his big body and speed. You catch him in stride, he's gone.
Let's see. Tortilla Jackson said Russ was a one-trick pony. We literally only threw deep balls and check downs and still won 10 games. That's what I'm saying. That's why this thing is so difficult for me to try to figure out what the hell is going to happen, because we didn't play well. We were 10-3. You get a bunch of players. You assume things are going to be better, and again, you think that you might have improved to be able to beat the better teams in the league. Which again, guys, sitting at 10-3, we could have certainly lost to the Ravens 3 times last season. We won that first game by Justin Tucker missing 2 field goals and an extra point. So, when you're talking about teams that we played against, people always say, well, we did beat the Ravens, but, the Ravens did beat themselves. You got to remember that too. So I'm just trying to keep it real. That's all I'm trying to do. Again, we could have certainly lost to Baltimore all 3 times very easily last season. Justin Tucker, possibly one of the worst games of his career. And that generally don't happen if that doesn't happen. So again, we have to figure out how to win those games against Baltimore. First and foremost, we play them twice. But guys, the big games, those are the games that are going to be difficult to win, Mike. And we got to figure out, did the improvements that we made, is that going to be enough to get over those humps? I'm not worried about beating the teams that we beat. I'm not worried about beating, the Jets that we beat up and the Giants that we kicked their asses. I'm not worried. Nobody's worried about them teams. We're probably going to win those games. But when it comes down to it, we got to play Detroit, we got to play Buffalo this year. I mean, these are the kind of games we're going to see if we improved overall. And that's what it comes down to, Mike. I don't see the season being much different. Like you said, maybe a couple games different in the way that the game plays out is going to be different, I think. But as the season comes to an end, is this team going to be any better to play the teams that they're going to see in January?
I think we can hang with the Buffaloes this year. I think their defense is not as good as it was last year. I don't think their offense is that good as last year either. I think we can hang with them.
I hope you're right. I mean, that's the goal, right? We wanted
Yeah.
to get better so we could hang with the good teams and see what we can do. Let's get back on the board. Vegas, my man, Vegas TJ says, was Vanilla Thunder's tag team partner Daryl Dawkins?
You look a couple comments down, you see who my tag partner is, brother.
Wasn't it what was Mark Henry? Wasn't he like a Sexual Chocolate? That could be your tag team partner. Vanilla Thunder and Sexual Chocolate. Oh, somebody had that? Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Steel knew what's up, brother. He knows what's up.
Great minds, Steel. Ruff says Derek Harmon as well. And again, and what I'm doing, listen, I'm playing a lot of devil's advocate because it's really easy right now to say all the good things that we think are going to happen. But we have to remember, this is not much different than the past couple of years. We brought in a lot of people. We brought in Patrick Queen. We brought in this guy. We brought in Russell Wilson. And you know what I'm saying? So, again, just trying to play a little devil's advocate. That's all. John says Chargers do have a great D. Chargers, I think, let up the least amount of points last year, if I'm not mistaken. Chargers are going to be scary, guys. Sexual chalk. Okay, there it is. Mark Malone says we've got a better front four rotation now, too. John says if the Steelers start rotating D players like the Eagles, then yes, they can be elite. Plus, they need more offensive ball control. Absolutely. Mark Malone, if they could score a touchdown or two, the D will actually be able to pin their ears back for once. That's what we're hoping, right? I think with all the improvements, we're hoping that we're going to be able to score more points. That's what we want, right? Mark Malone playing with the lead. Holy hell! I know.
Or what's that, brother?
Feel the Steel and watch Fields beat the Steelers week 1. What the fuck? That's going to be a good litmus test, that Jets game, and I think we're going to come out we're going to look pretty good. I do think we're going to look good against the Jets. Vegas says over under 1.5 first drive touchdowns this season.
I'm taking the over optimistically. It can't get any lower, brother.
Corey says Broderick Jones obviously is talented. I think he let the talent in the great first year go to his head. He thought he was as good as he is, and he got sloppy, especially as rushers improved.
Yeah, those were the reports coming out last year, is that he let it go to his head.
That's the thing about some of these guys. When you start off on the bad foot, it's hard to really get your ground because now everybody has tape on you. Now everybody has notes on you. Now everybody knows all your weaknesses. So unless you come out and find a way to fix everything, you're going to still struggle because, teams, these guys are smart. They have a lot of money and there's a lot of, it's a huge company and they have a lot of resources. So if you come out on the bad foot, it's your burden to try to fix everything, Mike. Otherwise, you're there for the pickings. And again, if you're a left tackle out on a little island protecting your 42-year-old quarterback, I think the burden falls on you as the tackle because, again, I already know your weaknesses as a defense. Yeah. You have to prove to me your strengths as a tackle.
And one thing, like a key to watch for Broderick Jones in preseason, watch his hand placement when he punches in pass protection. If he has him up high, he is paying attention to his technique in doing what the coaches want him to do. If he's punching down low and lazy, he is just trying to get by on his own athletic ability and not caring or not paying attention to what he needs to be done. Because we saw that early in his career coming out of college, because he was able to do that. He was bigger and stronger than everyone else. He was able to keep those punches low. Whereas the pros, you got to punch up high and jam those guys up and in. And that's one of his biggest flaws in pass pro is his hand placement. And like his punch was really weak last year too. I know he had like an arm injury and he was having trouble punching. So hopefully, paying attention to technique and coming into the season healthy, he will have that down. And it just the footwork and the hand placement, man, that's all Broderick Jones really needs to just focus on those two things, dude, and everything else will fall into place for you because you have the talent.
Huge Ass Forever. What's up, brother? Always great to see Huge Ass on the board. Huge Ass says this is the year for these third-year players to reach their peak. or else 2023 draft might not look so great. John says this is for Corey. The Steelers have a 2.8% chance to win the Super Bowl. And Vegas says, so you're saying that there's a chance? You know what? But that 2.8 has us in the middle of the pack. It has us right in the middle of the pack at 15 overall in odds. Again, a plus 3,500. John says, Vegas, I'm not going to the strip to place that bet. Vegas says, isn't that the dude that was catfished by a dude?
Yeah, Manti Te'o, yep.
Yeah, that's what it was. There was something with him.
I remember like that they were all trying to hype him up like he was some national or some Heisman finalist type middle linebacker. And I just was never impressed with Manti Te'o's play.
He was what, Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, yeah. Golden Domers, I don't trust them.
Let's see. TJ Watt's so good he could get max. TJ Watt's so good he could get catfished and sign a max extension that same day. Tortilla follows it up by saying Te'o chose a fake e-girl over winning. And that was weird. Remember? Yeah, because it was real weird. You didn't know what the hell was going on with all that. John says most NFL players fall off after 30s. They are not in normal profession. Afternoon, Jen. Hey, Kenny, what's up, man? Good afternoon to Kenneth on the board. Always great seeing Kenneth on the board. Tortilla says Jonnu Smith could be a Patrick Peterson kind of signing, but I'm just throwing names out there. He should ball out. I read something this morning. What are they going to yell when Jonnu catches the ball at tight end? Jonnu!
We ain't being racist or bigoted. We just shorten things around here, brother.
Well, because you figure even Pat, he was Heath at first, remember?
Yeah, he was Heath, he was Heath. Well, we haven't had a black tight end who caught the ball in a long ass time. We're gonna start calling him Eric Green, Eric Ebron.
Vegas says how many players would have to retire for the Steelers to be a Super Bowl favorite this year?
I can name at least 7 off the top of my head, brother.
Kenneth says Sawyers is decent, but can learn and improve with his hands fighting from TJ and Herbig? Yeah, I know. A lot of people are excited about him. Again, I'm not overthrilled with the Ohio State players, but we'll see. You know, they could turn out to be amazing. We will see. John says, can the Steelers D consistently cover a live football over the middle? Once I see it, I'll be excited. It's been a long time, brother.
Like I say on the show and off air to Ryan all the time, in the 40-some years I've watched the Steelers, I've yet to see it happen. So I'm right there with you, brother. When it happens, I'll believe it.
Kenneth says last couple of years, Big Ten have been king. 2 teams. In those 2 teams, you know, who do they have to play against? So to call it Big Ten, I don't know.
Hey, if we have a winning record against the SEC.
That means nothing to me. All it tells me is you have a great record against the Big Ten. There's nobody in that conference. Again, if you're Ohio State or Michigan, it's not that great of a conference. Tortilla says Ewers gifted Ohio State with a free playoff win. Patrick says one more player. Welcome, Patrick. Always great to see her. Welcome on the board, Patrick. John says Haley's scheme and a young prime Ben scored points.
What wasn't their goal every game? They wanted to score like every minute they had the ball. They wanted to have a point a minute. They wanted to average something like that.
I don't remember.
I think that was Haley's thing. We want to average a point a minute, brother.
Patrick said Herbig will be a beat. You know what? Herbig kind of falls in that in the middle area for me right now. He's kind of a not thought of player too often because you have TJ, he's your big dog, and then you have your young guys, your Sawyers, your other linebackers, your insides, your your Wilson. I'm sorry, and people are kind of forgetting about Herbig right now. But once the season gets started and you have him coming off, firing off the end, and making the big plays, I think that Herbig he's got mad potential.
This is why it's so important that entire linebacking core stays healthy so they can start moving around those pieces to the puzzle.
Right.
They did that early last year. Then guys starting to get nicked up, banged up to where, okay, we don't have this guy. So now our backup has to go and start. Now we have no one to really do this exotic stuff. And you can start lining him and Highsmith on the outside. Then you have TJ Watt bouncing around in the middle along with Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson. Who's coming? Who's covering? Those are the things that are going to be awesome. And I think Herbig's going to have, coming off the bench, I think he's going to have a 9-sack season.
Oh, wow. That'd be amazing.
Coming off the bench, yeah.
Tortilla says Prime Ben wasn't just scheme though. His fake pump was maybe the best fake pump we've ever seen, and he was hard to sack. Yeah, and that's what I've seen with that kid that you like out of South Carolina. I'm like, his elusiveness and his escapability is very similar to Ben, but he's
Yeah.
a lot more athletic. If he gets
Yeah.
out of the grasp of
Yeah.
the defense or out of the pocket,
Uh-huh.
he's easily
Yeah.
he could easily pick up 30 yards on a run downfield.
Yeah.
But very similar to what you've seen with Ben.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited. I just want to see what he can do this year. So I can't wait for football to get here, man. There's so between college and the pros. Jesus.
John says, TJ, good point. Rodgers won't be hard to take down. Tortilla also says, I've been saying Rodgers DK quick slants will be nasty this year. Great minds think of Mike. I mean, alike. Tortilla also says that John, not at all. I'm going to be mad if I see him even try to avoid sacks because that's how he tore his Achilles. Again, guys, quick question. I'm going to throw it out there. Who's going to be the first injury of camp? And who's going to be the first long-term injury? These aren't things that you want to think about, but come on, guys. Historically, this is what the Steelers have been seeing every year, year in, year out. Is it possible that we avoid the injury bug this year? But, guys, who do you think? Who's going to be the first injury of camp? And who's going to be the first long-term injury? It's been a young guy every year, guys. We're thinking Corey Trice, Roman Wilson, Fatanu. Go down the list. John says Rodgers needs wide receivers who can quickly get open and then get the yak. Tortilla says Rodgers has to throw quick, and if he's getting sacked, he needs to just take it, or he's going to go down again. Big John says, I expect the DBs to jam Steeler wide receivers right off the line. The NFL D coordinators know what time it is with the Steelers. Absolutely. And that's the thing. We're expecting the greatest things to happen. But, the NFL is pretty good at figuring teams out and players out. So, again, so many moving pieces in this season for this team. John says the Steelers have ignored 50% of the field on offense. That philosophy comes from the coaching, not just absolutely. Vegas TJ says, I hope teams press DK with no safety help all year, as I don't think that there are a bunch of CBs that are strong enough to deal with him at the line. Tortilla says, I hope Ben Skoranek can connect with Aaron Rodgers like Alan Lazard did so we could solve that issue. Feel the Steel Tortilla. 15, my son got the football eye and says 15 could be the next Psycho 86. 15, Mike.
I'm not putting a lot of hope in Ben Skoranek. For me, not putting a whole lot of hope in Ben Skoranek.
But you know what? I do trust Phil's son. Next, Tortilla on the board. Tortilla says we need more wide receivers like Ben Skoranek. He does all the dirty work, and if he can get on time with Rodgers, I don't see why he can't steal wide receiver 2 from Austin. But see, guys, that's kind of the problem here. I don't want Skoranek to be. I don't want him. Listen, even if he can outperform Calvin, even if he can outperform anybody, I don't know how good I'm feeling if Ben Skoranek is my number 2. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, 4 years in the league, 1 touchdown, 63 catches, 644 yards. He's a special teamer. He's a good guy to have on those 3rd down, 4th downs. If you're looking to pass, he's a good run blocker. But he coming from LA. If they couldn't tap into him to being a number 2, number 3 receiver, I don't see it here in Pittsburgh in the Artie Smith offense. But I can see him being a contributor. I know they like to rotate wide receivers, Arthur Smith does, but he had 5 receptions last year. I'm not seeing a whole lot for Ben Skoranek.
Corey says, damn you, John, and your pessimistic statistics, LOL, but at least we're in it. If we're at 2.8%, then the Browns have to be around 1.8% at most, which is hilarious since they do have more quarterbacks than most of the league has. Yeah, and you know what? And also, Mike, the Cincinnati Bengals, they are having some issues. They can't get Trey Hendrickson signed. That other guy, their draft pick, he's quitting. He's going back to college.
Yeah,
he says, I'm just going to go back to the draft next year.
I love it. I love it.
So you have to like these signs of things that are going on in the AFC North. figuring out a way to stop that Bengals offense. It's gonna be a chore, Mike. But hopefully, we should be able to score a lot of points on the Bengals defense.
Yeah, we held that offense in check that last game of the year, 19-17. The first game was a shootout, and we won the shootout because they don't have a defense. So like Cincinnati really does not scare me.
No, me neither.
No, I think
we were depleted. We got, we again on the 3 games in 11 days, which I'm not going to complain about because so did the other teams that had that situation. But I just think that we were depleted mentally as a team last year. When it came time to play the Bengals, we definitely weren't playing on at the top of our game. We had all of our hardest games in that 11-day stretch. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. You throw in there the Bengals. I'm not the Bengals, but the Ravens, the Chiefs, KC, and I think it was Philly.
It was Philly in an 11-day window right there. Those were the cream of the crop. You can tell that we were not ready for primetime. The roster was not ready for primetime at that point, and it showed. And Cincinnati just luckily for them, they caught us at that moment.
Kenneth says yes. That's what we'll say, Mike, when John who catches it.
No.
But like with Pat or with Mutho, do you remember that when they were calling him Heath for a couple first season at least? Corey said they should call the Big Ten the only 4. Besides for Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan, who's consistently good?
No one.
So if you're one of those teams, you see what I'm saying? And especially if you're one of the top 2, because Penn State doesn't necessarily beat those 2 teams. So I don't know. That kind of waters it down. When you break it down, it makes sense. Vegas says 25 guys that drank way too much still yell out, Heath.
Yeah, they do.
That's true.
I'll just go to games, start yelling out, Bruner.
You're right. Kenneth says Big Ten haters need to understand that TJ, Cam, Benton, and half of the squad we have is Big Ten. And this is a team that hasn't won a playoff game in almost a decade.
Might be why.
Just want to throw that back at you, Ken.
Well, of course, we had a couple guys from the Georgia teams, and we still can't win.
Yeah. But they're all insane, we're finding out. And
that's true, yeah. Like Kirby's smart. What the hell is he doing down there in Georgia to keep those guys in line to win a championship?
Phil says, I hope 15 goes to camp with a purpose. My boy loves the ball, the way 15 balls out. I mean, I like him for that. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's something about him that you like, of course. But again, if he's sitting your number 2 wide receiver, I'm kind of concerned. Vegas, I think Vegas is here comes the hate. Here comes the feedback, Mike. Nobody. We're on the injury tip here. Who's going to be? Of course, I asked who's going to be the first injury in camp, and who's going to be the first long-term injury. It's something that we've dealt with for at least the last 5 years on this team. Vegas is saying that predicting an injury has to be bad karma. And Ryan,
that's Ryan's favorite thing is predicting the injury for the Steelers.
Phil says, Ryan, shut up about the injuries. Son of a, I know, but it's such a thing, and especially with the young guys, man. The young guys have such a hard time staying healthy on this team. Kenneth says, as far as who will be our injury, I refuse to jinx. Nobody wants to play this game. Tortilla says, place bets on players we don't want to get hurt, so we make money if they do. Phil still says, Vanilla, give us the Steelers wide receiver list, number 1 and so on. What do you think, Mike? Who is the wide receiver list from 1 down?
We got DK, we got Roman Wilson, we got Calvin Austin, flip-flop those 2 at 2 and 3, Robert Woods. Then you get into trouble. Then you got your Ben Skoronix, your Scotty Millers, your Rock Taylor, who might be a sleeper in camp here. But yeah, that's your wide receiving core right there.
Vegas. I don't know what Vegas is saying up top. Or what is that? Moon Brew?
Yeah, for Muth and Bruner.
Oh, so okay. Brew. We didn't have a Big Ten QB. Oh, we got one now. We'll see how he does, guys. We'll see how the one up in Minnesota does too, guys. So the 2 national championship winning quarterbacks from the last 2 years, I am curious, and I would love to see them face off against one another in Minnesota. But if that ends out happening, that's probably not a good sign for us. or again in Ireland against Minnesota. If it ends up coming down to that, Mike, where it's J.J. McCarthy versus Will Howard in week 4, that's probably not a good sign for us if Will Howard is starting in week 4.
No, that'd be a bad one.
A couple other things I do have here, Mike. Let's see. We're talking about TJ, of course. No, this is what I'm going to.
Okay.
Boz, this is something funny that I've seen. Let's skip the TJ thing that I just said entirely. Boz, this is something that Boz, I guess, happened in his first year with the Steelers. Did anybody see this? Apparently, James Harrison told Boz at the very first practice that Boz was at, if you miss this kick, you will be washing my back in the shower. This was a story that Chris Boswell just told this week, getting ready to go into camp in his first practice in his first camp. Can you imagine with that pressure being on you? Even if you think the guy's even messing around,
Yeah.
can you imagine big ass James Harrison telling you if you miss this kick, Mike, you're gonna be washing my back in the shower?
Hey, he made the kick. That showed he could.
You wonder why he's so damn good, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
He's still in the back of his mind every kick he's taken. Fucking Harrison's back there.
Yeah. I came across that this morning as I was looking up some content. I just thought that's hilarious. That is why Chris Boswell is as good as he has been. Mike, if you mess up on the show, you have to wash my back in the shower.
Fuck no, bro. I'll mess up regardless. Hold up your end of the bargain, brother.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me get out the Brillo pad.
Kenneth says, wasn't Will's fault. We lost to Michigan. Ryan Day was scared to let him throw. You know what? Didn't the quarterback make a dumb play in their loss too?
Mm-hmm.
He it
was a loss against Oregon. He thought he had
an extra down or something. He ended up going down, and
that's our guy, baby. That's who we got.
That's what I'm saying. There's just nothing. These guys didn't overthrow me. I'm not saying they're not good.
No,
Kenny.
and
they're on our team, and I hope they do well. But
yeah.
I think I'm saying I just wasn't. I wasn't really overtaken by this Ohio State squad. They kind of all season long, as Mike said, they early on, of course, they get all their cupcake games. They schedule right. They schedule well. I got to be honest with you. Ohio State schedules really well. They get a bunch of really bad teams early. They beat the crap out of them, and then they get the Big Ten competition, who again outside of Penn State and Michigan really isn't much. They win one of those other 2 games, which generally they beat Penn State. So again, I wasn't thrilled with it. They kind of fell ass backward into the national championship, in my opinion. But he was driving but he made that huge mental mistake, and that was it was something. John said, CB, Corey Beavers, I'm realistic, but will gladly admit it if I'm wrong about the team this year. John, where do you stand, guys? Let me ask you. That's kind of how I wanted to get this show to eventually turn. Give me your pre-camp predictions. Of course, the guys are showing up tomorrow at camp. Kicks off on Thursday for the Steelers. On the board, pre-camp predictions. What's your record? Vegas, Ken, John, Corey. Everybody down the line. Tortilla. What's your predictions? Pre-camp predictions. I want to know, what's your record? What do you think the Steelers are going to, what place are they going to finish in the division? Are they going to make the playoffs? And what kind of success will this team have in the playoffs? Throw that up on the board. That's kind of how we'll conclude the episode, guys. Everybody throw up your predictions. This is pre-training camp. I mean, this is as close as it gets, guys. Camp's about to start. The seasons will be soon. What's your prediction? And then we'll compare. We'll look at it again in the middle of the season. We'll look at how it looks, down the road. But throw up on the board, everybody. What's your prediction? What's your record for the year? Where do they finish in the division? Do they make the playoffs? And what kind of playoff run do they have? Throw it up on the board. We'll talk a little bit about that as the show starts to round out for the day here. Mike, the 26-year-old, how do you spell his name? The defensive lineman that came from Atlanta, Ogundeji. He announces his retirement, Mike. 26-year-old defensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Probably wasn't going to make the team, but he did announce his retirement at 26.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had that guy.
Yeah. Also, Mike, if you listen to the Steelers on the radio, I know people, what is this radio thing you talk about? But yes, people do still listen to the radio. Max Starks. Max Starks, speaking of left tackles on this Pittsburgh Steelers team, of course, the Super Bowl winning left tackle Max Starks got promoted. He is going to be the color commentary guy for Steeler radio games. Congratulations to Max, and good luck.
Hey, that booth has changed so much in the past, like 7 years.
You know what I remember? I remember this about Max, that he played well and he was a good left tackle for this team. But my favorite memory of Max Starks was him and Jeff Reed playing paper football in the McDonald's commercial after they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Uh-huh.
Because all the Super Bowl teams, they get the commercial accolades, and the Steelers did get theirs. They got theirs too. And it was Jeff Reed getting ready to kick the field goal in paper football against Max Starks. I'll never forget that commercial. It was McDonald's.
My buddy was on a flight with Max Stark sitting next to him in first class, and he like snuck the picture of him. I was like, holy shit. Just sitting down, he was a giant of a man. He's
a massive guy, man. And that's what a left tackle should be. Jonathan Ogden, Max Starks, like that's a left tackle. You know, these guys with that's the body that I want out there.
Yeah.
Let's see on the board. Let's see what's going on the board. On the board, Phil Steele says 8 wins and 9 losses. Tortilla, let me get down. Okay, cool. We got some predictions coming in. Let me go grab a couple of these messages before we do miss any of them. Vegas says Will got better every game since then, and now he gets to learn from Mr. Discount Double Check himself. Kenneth says should have went for the field goal with 6. That's what I'm saying. There was something that went wrong, and I'm not an Ohio State guy, so I specifically don't remember what happened, but I can remember the play. There was some kind of brain fart that happened via Will Howard that lost that game. Kenneth is also saying Rodgers is the key. We have all the pieces, and we have been building. So I mean, it might be fair to say that we might be decent. We might be able to make a decent run. Listen, if this was the same team, the way that the Steelers have been building their teams for 30 years, you might have a valid point. But the fact that we do continue to add, naturally, you got to be better, right?
Yeah. You figure the real rebuild did not start until 3 years ago when they drafted Roger Jones. When they brought in Omar Khan for it, that was his first draft. That for me, that's the official rebuild of the team. So this year they should have a good run in them.
Vegas says I don't know about he goes, I don't know about that. We watched our QB have a perfect passer rating and not make the end of the season as a starter. Health is all that matters to me. Health is huge. We have to stay healthy this year, guys. And the thing is, you just don't get a hammy injury and they go into the sideline and then the guy rubs it and you go back. It's not like that anymore. We had a guy that was out 5 weeks with a hammy last year. I think Highsmith took a hammy either last year or the year before. It's not the same. You don't have minor injuries anymore. These guys, when they get hurt, they're out for long periods of time, and it affects everything. Field is still saying 8 wins, 9 losses. Tortilla saying number 1 seed wild card bye, lose week 2 of the playoffs. Oof. That's remember that was a thing. Remember back when we were good in the early 2000s, we were getting all these number 1s and 2 seeds in the 90s and the 2000s, and they end out losing that first game. It was really Detroit Lion like if you've seen what happened to the Lions last year. Very impressive in the offseason. Who's going to stop these guys? They got a week off in the playoffs. They should cruise, and then they lose in their first playoff game. We've been there for sure. We've been there, done that. John, he has a big window. He has a big what are them big windows in the front of the house called, Mike? These big windows.
Bay windows.
Well, this is a bay window. John says a window of 6-11 or 11-6. It depends if they stop being conservative and team health. Corey says 11-6, wild card win, and we lose a close one in the divisional round. It's not a Super Bowl, but it's progress. Still close enough in the draft pool to move up a spot for quarterback if needed. It's a sweet spot. And then Vegas follows that up by saying, if both lines play well, I can see them going 12-5 and play in the AFC Championship. That's what I'm hoping for. And I don't know if it's the it's the dreamer in me, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. But I acknowledge there's a lot that could go bad between now and then. I see a 12, and I see this continue to see the team going 12-5. Win the games that you have to win. Win 4 out of 6 of your division games. And maybe win 1 or 2 of the games that you're not supposed to win. And with the talent we brought in, that's hopefully what we're able to do is get over that hump, be able to beat those teams that you usually generally are a difficult team to beat, Mike.
Yeah, I had the team going like 11-6, win the wild card, and like a close game in round 2 that can go either way. I just haven't decided if we're going to win that game or not. I just have a feeling that's the way the season's going to go.
Vegas says I could see Omar trading for a number 2 wide receiver in season and getting the best one from a bad team. You know what? I have such a bad taste in my mouth about that, Mike, because just the way the past 2 years went. Here we are. We were going into last season with this Brandon Ayuk situation, and here we are 2 years later. I mean, another whole season later, going into the season with still without a wide receiver too. Why isn't this talked about more?
We talk about it all the time, bro.
We really don't, because why don't we have a number 2 wide receiver? Isn't this an issue?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Well, we've talked about trying to get
everybody's talking about how good and how positive they're feeling, but we still don't have a number 2 wide receiver, Mike.
Yeah, I know. We've talked about all the options that are out there and what might happen. But
this is a kind of a concern, and it should be talked about more because of how it's being handled. Mike, they let Brandon Ayuk play what they did all last year, that whole entire time. Is he coming? Is he going? Is he going to stay with San Fran? Again, we dodged a bullet with Brandon Ayuk. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But here we are going into a whole nother season. After that, we still don't have a number 2 wide receiver. We've improved everywhere. We went out and got corners. We went out and got a quarterback. But still, I don't understand why people aren't more anxious about this number 2 wide receiver spot. We're assuming that Roman Wilson, who's never played it down in the NFL, can have a good season. We're assuming that Calvin Austin could possibly pull off number 2, who's never been a number 2 legitimately in his life, in the NFL at least. So again, I mean, if we're thinking big things for this team, you got to say to yourself, they have to bring somebody in opposite side DK Metcalf. They have to. Otherwise, your options are limited. You cut your field in half, and you're easy again to prepare for. This is where you jump in, Mike.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I agree with you, man. We talked about this a lot on the show, and there's Gabe Davis, Amari Cooper out there. There's teams that have a glut wide receiver that we might be making a trade for. And I just have a feeling that they're going to wait to see what these guys look like in camp, how they perform on the outside, and then who's going to be a cap casualty on another team and go swoop them up.
Do you think we're going to? Here's the thing: I'm not convinced that we're going to go into the season with another player. Mike, we could very well go into the season, which again, preseason is only a few weeks out, with the same exact situation we went into last season. Now, with the GM who's making moves and bringing guys in and bringing names in, isn't that somewhat of a concern? I mean, just overall, guys. I mean, that kind of it sits with me bad. It's I don't know. Why?
I don't know. It all depends on how they're going to deploy their sets, because they do run a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. So, and how they're going to line up the tight ends there, how they're going to attack the defense. So, I can see why they're not going out and get that big name guy. If you trust the guys you have in the room and you want to see what they have before you go out and get the guy.
They have too much trust in the guys they have sometimes. See what's happening. I mean, the guys that they're going out and improving. And for some reason, we just don't have a wide receiver 2. Again, we could sit here and name names and say, well, this guy could possibly be him. This guy can possibly be them. We could possibly go get Gabe Davis. But again, if we head into this season with the same issue that we went into last year, that doesn't sit well with me, man. And again, you're bringing better players in to improve at every other position. Why we still don't have that situation taken care of, again, to me, is an issue. But again, I'm going to trust you, Mike. I think that hopefully they bring somebody in to fill that spot, and we'll be okay. But again, if we go into the regular season without a number 2, I'm asking why. I'm going to ask myself why again, especially if you're out spending money, especially if you're out bringing in big names. So again, let's move on. I'm going to go right here. Kenneth says, rather than a replaceable player nowadays, players are protected investments. Gone are the days of a shot to numb you and play with the broken leg. Vegas says, rub some dirt on it and get back in there, Kenneth. This is what he says. Lewis Chase, welcome to the board. Lewis says, Field is still 18 seasons and counting. What is that, Mike? What is 18 seasons and counting?
Because Phil had us 8 and 9.
Gotcha. How old is AB? Vegas said. You know what? At this point, I think that he would be an upgrade. I got to be honest with you. It ain't never going to happen. I think he's still running from the law, whatever the hell's going on.
He's out of the country, bro.
But you know what? I would.
Him and Trey Hendrickson are on the run somewhere.
He would still be a better receiver than half of the options that we have right now. At this point in his life, again, who knows if he's in any kind of shape to play football. But I mean, come on, we're talking silly talk about Ben Skoranek being a number 2. I would certainly put AB in there if that was the situation. John says this time last year there were both Wilson and Fields ball washers. I was realistic then as well. Kenneth says I say we do have a number 2. Austin and Rogers will be fantastic. Phil is still. He says he's subtracting. Sticky B. What's up, Sticky B? Always great to see Sticky B on the board. He says, I think they're planning on running a ton of 3 tight end, 1 wide receiver sets. They want to play bully ball. And if that doesn't work, let me ask you, because last year they were going to play bully ball too. You guys remember that? We're going to bully people was the term that Omar Khan used. And I don't know, did we bully anybody last year? Kenneth, we were already better off with a 3rd tight end in Wilson. I'm gonna reserve my thoughts on Wilson again still because we haven't. We're assuming that he's. What do you expect from Wilson, Mike? 500 yards?
Yeah,
4 touchdowns.
About 5 touchdowns, 4 to 5 touchdowns, about 400 to 500 yards.
Okay. John says, Sticky B, every other team knows the Steelers. That's what I'm saying. Are we improving where we should be improving, guys, ultimately? John says, every other team knows the Steelers' plan. They can't be one-dimensional once that plan gets stopped. Exactly. The team's adjusted. This is why you need a legit wide receiver, too. You could play 3 tight end ball all you want. At the end of the day, you're going to have to do something different at some point, and I want to know that I have a good wide number 2. That's all. It's not far-fetched to understand that this is a somewhat of an issue. The team's adjusted to the moon balls and not throwing into the middle last year. Vegas says the RPO slant. The DK will be nasty this year. Vegas says ice got AB.
It probably did.
Also, he follows that up by saying the O-line doesn't seem to get a whole lot of push. That needs to change, of course. They're another year along. Maybe they'll be another year stronger. We will see. But the O-line, of course, will be a big part. No doubt about that. John says bragging rights for a regular season record must be a younger generation thing. But what do you guys think, guys? Throw up your comments, throw up your predictions. What is your record for this team? I think they win 12 games. That's my prediction. I'm going to go 12-5. They won 10. They went 10-7 with the team that they had last year. And those quarterbacks were terrible. You know what? Justin Fields wasn't terrible. He was 4-2. He had pretty good numbers. He didn't turn the ball over. Russell Wilson's the one that kind of screwed us. What did he lose? 5, 6 games, something like this? I don't know, guys, but it's going to be exciting. Any way you slice it. Sticky B says, we all know the Steelers' mentality. Just because you know it's coming is not the same as stopping it. They will keep pounding their heads against the wall, expecting different results. Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
The Two Dumb Yinzers. Check it out. Especially if you're new here. Remember, we have all of our social media links over there for Ryan and I. We got the merch store over there. And we got the dumb thoughts over there. So check it out. The2dumbYinzers.com.
All right, Mike, we're going to do the trivia question of the day. If you get it wrong, you have to shave my back in the shower.
Ooh, are we doing that live on stream?
Yeah. Yeah, go get the sponge. Sticky B says, I think if Rodgers stays healthy all season, I think 12 wins is that's what I'm saying. I think best case scenario, I say is 12-5 for the Steelers this year. And that's if they don't deal with injuries, they don't have injuries. Kenneth is saying the same thing. He says, I'll go 12-5, either AFC Championship to Super Bowl. I'm a little less optimistic on that. I think if they could get to the AFC Championship, I think that's a huge accomplishment for this team and maybe a good stepping stone for moving forward. And I got to be honest, I mean, come on, everybody wants to win the Super Bowl. So I'm right there with you, believe me. John says it's been a long time since the Steelers imposed their will on another team. Hope won't change that. Guys, question of the day. Here we go. Everybody, Mike, put on your thinking caps. A lot on the line as Mike is going to have to shave my back if he misses this question, guys. Question of the day. Here we go. All right, Steelers, they announced their 1933 uniforms. These were the very first uniforms that the Steelers ever wore. This is the replica of them. They just showed us yesterday that they will be wearing these. They're going to be wearing them week 8 against the Packers on Sunday night. We know that for sure. Now, the question of the day is the Steelers retired the 1934 Bumblebee uniforms after 2016. Mike, what was the Steelers' record in the Bumblebee uniforms? I'm going to give you a hint just in case. Keep it in the ballpark here. There was a total of 6 games. What was the Steelers' record in those 6 games of wearing the Bumblebee uniforms? Take a minute to think that over, guys. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day right here on YouTube. Question of the day is this. The Steelers retired the 1934 Bumblebee uniforms after the 2016 season. What was the Steelers' record while wearing the Bumblebee uniforms? The hint is there was 6 games in total. Take a minute, think that over, guys. I'm going to grab John here on the board. John says, better yet, Mike has to shave Peaches back in the shower. We don't have that kind of hardware. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Mike, question of the day. What was the Steelers' record with their Bumblebee uniforms last decade? John's guessing 4-2 on the board.
Good guess.
6 games.
Yeah, I'm going 5-1.
5-1. Good guess. Is that your final answer?
Hell yeah, brother.
All right. Locking Mike in on first. Locking Mike in on his answer. He's saying 5-1. John's saying 4-2. Throw your guesses up on the board, guys. If you got them, the question of the day is this. What was the Steelers' record in the Bumblebee uniforms last decade? They did retire them. They were the replicated uniforms from 1934. This year, of course, the uniforms are from 1933. The first 2 years that the Steelers fielded a team. Mike is saying 5-1. John's saying 4-2. Give it a few more seconds, guys. Throw up your guesses on the board. Phil is still saying 6-0.
Hell yeah, brother.
Tortilla's saying 27-0. But they played good football, right? When they were the Bumblebees, I from what I'm remembering, they had a good record. I'm thinking these guys should have all be ballpark. Question of the day. The Bumblebee Steeler uniforms. What was the record while wearing the Bumblebee Steeler uniforms while being brought back last decade? 6 games total. John says 4-2. Phil says 6-0. Mike says 5-1. Guys, the correct answer, of course, is 4-2.
Oh, nice.
John, you nailed it. Good job, guys. It is camp week, everybody. Steelers will be pulling in tomorrow. You'll start seeing all the pictures on social media and on your TV. You'll see the guys pulling in, showing up, carrying their bags and their luggage, checking into their dorm, getting ready for camp starting on Thursday. The Steelers and the Falcons will be the last 2 teams to start camp on Thursday. At that point, everybody else will be underway. 1 week from Thursday night, we have NFL football. That's right, the Detroit Lions taking on the LA Chargers. Just 1 week from Thursday night in the NFL Hall of Fame game, guys. And after that, it's on like Donkey Kong. It's going to be all preseason. This is where I'm excited, Mike. I can't wait to see all this young talent. I can't wait to see the new guys that we brought in, rookies, guys that we weren't quite sure about last year, guys we want to see improve from last year. The storylines are crazy for me personally in preseason. Like, I know people get excited for regular season, which I do as well. Don't get me wrong, but preseason is such a big part of the season for me. You learn so much about the team. You learn so much about the guys. You see, of course, in a small dose, you get to see little Aaron, see what he's bringing. It's probably going to be good. For crying out loud, Kenny Pickett looked good in preseason starts too. So I'm guessing that Aaron Rodgers is probably going to look good. But again, we're going to be taking looks at the rookies, these guys from Ohio State, these guys we're talking about on the board today, top to bottom, guys that aren't going to be here in 3 weeks. We'll get to see all these guys. So I'm super excited. We'll be right here to talk about all of it for sure. Let me catch up on a couple of these messages, Mike. We are going to get ready to start wrapping it up for the day. Fearless still says, did the Belch say it? Did he say it? Wilson effed up the season. Steelers would have done better with Fields. Did I just hear that? That means Tomlin effed up the season with that choice. You know what? He was 4-2 and wasn't putting the ball on the ground or in the other team's hands like everyone said was the issue. Russell come back, beat the teams he was supposed to beat. I think he had some decent teams in the middle. I mean, I think he beat the Giants, teams like this in the middle. Then he ran into that tough stretch down the run. But you know what? At the end of the day, you always got to ask yourself, would Justin Fields have turned out any better? Again, starting 4-2. Corey says 4-2. We lost to the Bengals in one game, and I think we lost to the Patriots in the other. Going back to the guesses, Corey also says, oh, Bumblebee still 4-2. We lost one game to Baltimore with Leftwich at quarterback. Phil still Ryan. Thank you. My ears were clear today. Hallelujah. Like anything before we do start getting ready to wrap it up for the day.
Oh, I thought I had something. Let me see if I bookmarked it. Yeah, here we go. 255 of 257 draft picks are now signed. The last two, the Bengals and their DN Shamir Stewart and the Browns and Quinshawn Junkins and their potential running back starter or split duty guy. So yeah, I'm loving that the AFC North is now back to the way it should be, where the Bengals and Browns are dysfunction and
back to the basement. You get back down there,
and where the Ravens and the Steelers are the consistent franchises. Both fan bases are pissed off with their coaches and owners all the time, but they're consistently up here just cruising along.
Kenneth says Russell's the right decision, but crumbled down the stretch. Let me ask you, real quick, do you think that how would Justin Fields? Of course, we finished on a 5-game losing streak to end the season. Does Justin Fields lose all 5 of those games, Mike?
I think so.
Okay.
The way the rest of the team was playing, the way
it's a whole team effort. We stunk and we blew it. And, all right.
I don't think prime Big Ben or prime Tom Brady was saving us, brother.
Now Tom Brady, everywhere the guy went, he won a Super Bowl.
Well, well, fuck that guy.
You can never count him out.
He's the outlier.
Vegas says Fields had less than 160 passing in 4 of those. Yeah, I know. But you know what? The damn Chiefs, they didn't score over 30 points all season, yet they lost 1 game or 2 games or whatever it was. Say what you want. The NFL is a strange place sometimes. Again, the Chiefs were not very impressive last year. They managed to win, I think, all but 2 of the games when it was said and done. Strange for a team that wasn't able to score over 31 points in the season. But it be what it be, guys. According to my on-air light going out on me, I'm going to take that as an indication. It's time to wrap up. I'm going to grab Vegas here. He says, Ryan just said it. No turnovers with Fields, and Wilson effed up the season. So we will see, guys. Here we go. Tomorrow they'll be showing up. Thursday we will be in full swing. Pittsburgh Pirates tonight, Mike. They are in game 2 against the best team in the AL after getting swept by the worst team in the AL. They shut out the best team in the AL yesterday by beating the Tigers 3-0. Game 2 today. Pirates 40-61 coming into this game. Steelers back at camp tomorrow is the big news. Mike, what is the scoop on Mario Lemieux? I'm hearing the Penguins are supposed to make a major announcement today. Anything on that yet?
I have not. I'm actually on Twitter right now searching, and I have not seen anything because I know Mario teased something on Twitter, like an email thing. So I don't know if it has to do with the Penguins, the Lemieux Foundation, or what, because the Lemieux account does not get posted on a whole lot.
You're right. That's what I'm saying.
So when he said something, I don't know. Nothing's up there. They're Penn 66K, Penn's run. So I think it might be a charity event type thing that he's on there having on their mailing list. So I don't think it's about him buying the team.
Mark Malone says Buston was throwing for like 150 yards a game. Lucky we don't have those problems anymore, but we may have new problems. We don't know. We will wait, and we will find out. Again, we're one step closer, guys. The gentlemen showing up at camp tomorrow. They'll be grabbing their dorms, getting ready to go back to that life for a couple weeks at least, guys, and then we'll be getting ready to go at it full speed ahead. Mike, what do you got, bro? We're wrapping it up, man.
Have a good day, brothers. Remember, don't fall in love with lot lizards.
I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. I do want to say thank you on the board. You guys always are amazing. You always keep things interesting. Thank you, and everybody at home as well, listening on their phone, maybe in their car, at the gym, wherever you may be. Thank you too. This was episode 777 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. If you haven't had a chance, go over to our social media pages. We are everywhere. Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, the whole way around. Go find us, hit some likes, hit some follows, all that kind of fun stuff. And if you haven't yet, hit the like right below. That helps us out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't yet. Mike, I do believe that's it. Speak now or forever hold your peace, my friend.
I got nothing. Have a good day, everyone.
Maybe tomorrow we'll be back and Mike will be shaving my back on the show live because, again, he did not get the question right. Mike, you do owe me one back shave. Here real quick. Cheers. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everybody. Vegas says he's in love with the lot lizard. Sticky says, I think this will be a good season. Either way, I will still watch every game. Now I just need to figure out how or what game to fly in to watch. I hear you, bro. We'll all be right in there as well, and we hope to see you when you get to town. Sticky, everybody, thank you so much. Everybody have a great Tuesday. Have a safe day. We'll be back tomorrow. First thing to do all over again. Everyone have a good one.